stargazers, welcome back. We've had our full moon in Aquarius yesterday at 1 degree Aquarius, and I think at the moment it's conjunct my south node. I do like the Aquarian moons. They make me think of so many different things all at once. I don't know if that's my 11th house Gemini moon kind of coming out in sympathy, but yeah, very, very busy intellectual periods for a lot of us, I think. And today we have Mercury opposing Pluto at 25, 26, I want to say. Let's have a look. Yeah, 25 degrees. And all of this on a weekend of global freedom demonstrations, which you won't really see on the telly. Not that I've had a license for a long time, but France, eh? Vive la Révolution! Storming the Bastille, I mean. Does Macron not know his own country's history? One has to ask oneself. They will not take that authoritarianism imposed upon them, I don't think. Well, mostly they won't. But yes, Wales, Ireland, England, Milan, Australia, Germany, Spain, France, Greece, Israel, and all over, America too. Make no mistake, the revolution will not be televised. But that don't mean it ain't happening though, does it? We've also got massive thunder and lightning storms going on here, adding to that fucking hell, everything's rather dramatic feeling this weekend. In true Leo season style, of course. So today I thought it would be a really good idea if we revisited the 5-11 Leo-Aquarius, Sun, Uranus, or the continuum of the individual, where we balance the heart and the higher mind, our will with divine will. And here they are, look. Those of you around my age, or 18 or so years older or younger, you'll have a nodal focuser here on this, and certainly over this month it's going to be everywhere. Both are fixed signs, so both very, very entrenched in their element. With cardinal signs, we have the initiation into that element. So, for example, with Aries, we begin the fire triad or the fire journey. It then passes on to Leo, who's really in the thick of it, getting the work done. And then on to Sagittarius, who roams about disseminating that fire, for example. And so with Leo, we have association with the sun, we have our creative input, the unique individual God source expression. That's something inside of ourselves that only we can bring forward into existence on the material plane. Hence its association with family too, as well as gambling or taking a chance. If we look at the 5th house, and of course creation is a bit of a gamble, isn't it? Then if we move over to Aquarius, we have that fixed air, which can sometimes feel a little bit contradictory to me. But yes, with Aquarius, we see a breakthrough from the known, departure from the consensus state, and the potential for new form thought, that kind of genius eureka moment. And this would be representative too of the individuated state, which in evolutionary astrology and psychological astrology as well, I believe, has 3 phases. Firstly, when we first enter this phase of soul evolution, we can have a knowing of feeling different, not necessarily resonating with consensus or everybody else, but perhaps keeping that to a very secret inner world, as the comfort or reassurance can still be needed. Like, whoa, what's happening in my world, in my reality here? And then we would come on, of course, to the 2nd phase, the outer disengagement with consensus, that attainment of individual freedom. And as such, it can feel very, very hard won. There can be a real fear of society in a way, as you dread being pulled back into what you've left behind. I think I really resonate with that. I like to think I'm all spiritual and world peace, but I'm fucking not really. I think this is where I sit. Certainly right now, I would love to attain that transcendence, but I'm pretty sure that's not what I came for in this lifetime. And lastly, our third phase, where we've made peace with our individuality and the fact that the consensus exists. Yeah, it can't pull us back in, it can't devolve our growth. And indeed, in this phase of soul evolution, we can help advance society with this kind of out the box genius thinking, kind of like chucking it in back into the mainstream. Think of Tesla, Nikolai, not Elon bloody Musk. God, billionaires in space, eh? Between him and that bloody Bezos. Did you see Bezos's rocket though? What a clown. That man is a frightening, dangerous joke on us all, especially his bloody employees. Oh, there's that Aquarian moon talking. Anyway, yes. These are our two polarities, both very concerned with the individual, with our own existence in a way. And if we can balance them, as we are called to, we are always called to balance our oppositions, we can really bring in something amazing to the world, create and have it well received. Yeah, that whole thing about social relevancy, it can be a bit tricky for Leo, who can get caught up in the wrong side of things, as it can sometimes overly identify with its creation and seek that affirmation through ego stroking, when it perhaps needs to borrow a little from Aquarius, that focus on the sacral chakra, as opposed to people thinking it's amazing just for existing. Yeah. Equally, Aquarius could perhaps do with that dynamism and being prepared to show out to others, not just complete disengagement from society and disdain. But if we get these two balanced, yeah, wow, we can move mountains with our willpower and with our focus. That connection between the heart and the higher mind, yeah, grounded here with this fixed energy, it's powerful. It can be difficult to wield though, I certainly will say that much. I've got this conjunct my ascendant, and as a little aside, yeah, I find the North Node conjunct the ascendant pretty interesting. I think, to me at least, the way I've interpreted it, it's learning to allow yourself to be yourself, that freedom of self-expression, which should and does come spontaneously to a lot of us, can be overly held in check until later in life. And with an Aquarian South Node too, God, that really does ring true. South Node wise, it can be a trauma signature. But perhaps, you know, having been traumatized for self-expression in the past, for example, it can also be complete removal from society. Yeah, and lots of us Gen X babies, like a mini cohort in 8081, have Uranus square the nodes in Scorpio, Uranus in Scorpio rather, which symbolically and, yeah, of course very broadly speaking, can show this soul urge to remove yourself from manipulation and entanglement, to transcend and transform lifetimes of work really. And given that in these cases the resolution to that is found in the North Node in Leo, that kind of feels like to me that the only way out is in. Yeah, you kind of go through it, allow that individual creative self-expression. That's the way to gain your autonomy, gain your freedom. So here we are, yakking on YouTube as opposed to working at the office in the 9 to 5. This sort of aspect involving these guys to any degree really will speak to this freedom through a socially relevant creative output theme. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? So after that little foray, hopefully we can appreciate between Leo season and our 2 full moons in Aquarius, one more to come, we've just had one, what we are being offered collectively right now. And it's exciting times when we look at the transits, and I find timing fascinating here. Nothing is ever really by chance in the zodiac. It might not always be relevant to you on a personal focus. So if we take a look at the 28th, we've got Jupiter retrograde coming back into Aquarius. He was here last in early May, I think around the 10th. I could be wrong. I love the retrograde action of Jupiter and Saturn. I don't know why, but I just like their pace. It's like one last final check. Like, let's go back. Are we good here? Have we got all we need to get? Have we thought all we need to think? Have we resolved all we need to resolve? Right, cool. Onwards. So Jupiter's coming back into Aquarius just to help us out. Check what you were up to in May. What came up for you then? Any kind of radical thoughts? How can you contribute to that kind of initiation of the freedom, initiation of the unknown? Great. And being retrograde, of course, this is very much internal dynamics at the moment till he makes that other pass. So what is being dismantled here? What constriction is being broken down by boundaryless Jupiter in radical Aquarius? I think individually we will perhaps be thinking how we can restructure our own lives. And I also think between now and the end of the retrograde period, we can expect for sure more big tech revelations. Who knows, perhaps the transcending or breaking through of this constriction of freedoms, constriction of truths, this deplatforming people when they don't stick to the party line, toe the party line, you know, that whole authoritarian, there is one truth and it is the truth, we will dictate to you. Hopefully we will be smashing that to pieces at some point soon, and allowing true different perspective, different thoughts back into the melting pot, because that is of course how we as society are able to progress. So definitely keep an eye on that one for sure. And interestingly, on exactly the same day, Mercury makes his way into Leo. So this back step back into Aquarius to revisit this whole situation of constriction of freedom, of big tech censorship, is at exactly the same time as when our communication, the way we speak to each other, the way we think, will all be wrapped up in this leonine bravado. So I'll be very curious to see as to what events occur between now and then when Jupiter comes back up to this degree again, which very interestingly will be the week following our third and final Uranus and Saturn square. So that's when I would expect to see all of this to be really playing out. So yeah, very interesting Christmas period we're going to be having, isn't it? Anyway, back to the present. Let's not forget that we've also got Venus having made her ingress into Virgo a few days ago. And I think this is good. I think this is helpful in terms of balancing that opposition that we were talking about a little while ago. So let's remember that Virgo follows on from Leo, who is just so full of themselves and their swagger. She kind of taps the lion on the shoulder and says, well, hang on, what about this? What about that? Let's tweak this. You sure about this? She's got this kind of beautiful refining quality here too. And I understand a lot of astrologers would say that Venus is actually in fall in Virgo. I try not to use detriments, falls and exaltations. And that's not to throw shade on anyone that does. You know, we're all different. We all have our own processes. But I know for me, the minute I use such final terms, as it were, it really kind of blocks my ability to synthesize a chart and make sense of it. I think I have the kind of brain that just sees that as a bit too polarizing, because I think, well, that's not to say, you know, every chart is an amazing bundle of joy, love and laughter, because it's not. Sometimes we can have crap times in our lives, can't we? That's just the way it goes. But I do think that there's a whole mix of good and bad as we perceive it through the ego, but it's all for a reason. So yeah, I try to stay away from terminology such as that, and just try and stick to the fact that the way we relate and our feelings are all around this kind of theme of servitude and refinement and health, of course. And I think that would be good to temper that primal roar of Leo. Yeah, you know, bravery and fierceness is great, but taming it internally, which Virgo is the other side of Mercury is kind of very internal, it can be warranted, and I think very, very helpful at times. We do need to be careful with these two though, because for all of its swagger, Leo can actually be pretty insecure if its ego is feeling quite vulnerable. And Virgo, as we all know, is the mistress of a good old existential crisis. And so with the Aquarian theme here in the mix too, there is the potential to feel as though the world is indeed ending. And quite frankly, that would be incredibly understandable, all things considered. On the 29th, Mars will make his ingress into Virgo as well. So a lot of us personally are going to be driven by these themes of servitude, health, holistic well-being, and let's not forget that Virgo is a priestess. Opposite Pisces, she channels the heavens. So that and the Uranian energy that we're feeling right now is pretty revolutionary. Radical good health and spiritual well-being is how I would perceive this. And again, a really nice mix of an alignment between the higher mind and the heart, this channeling of the heavens to be grounded, not just by our fixed signs, but by Virgo, our earth sign. So very, very important times here, kids, I'd say. Little mental health alert for us all, though. On the 29th, we have Venus squaring the nodes, the north node being at 8 degrees 56 Gemini. And at the same time, we will have Mars in Leo opposite Jupiter retrograde in Aquarius. So looking at this, it might be a difficult day for a lot of us. And of course, the energy leaks out past the 24-hour allotted slot, doesn't it? So around this time period, I would say, there is no doubt in my mind that this nodal swing has seen us on information overwhelm. I'm hella mercurial in my chart too, so I have felt that for sure, and equally been just as guilty in devouring information in a Gemini kind of way. I think that the 29th will see a lot of our internal dynamics saying, hold the phone, you two. She's of course talking to Gemini and Sagittarius there. A little three-way conversation. This to me really points to a need to stop, to take time out from this nodal journey and mentally check in with ourselves. Am I exhausted with overwhelm? What do I need to remove that's not serving my mental state? How can I heal my mind? Indeed, where is my mind? Yeah, way out in the waters. See it swimming. And of course, we've got Mars and Jupiter at it on the same day. That balance again needed and felt. It's Mars, our little buddy, at it again. Bless. This whole, but I wanna, and I'm the best, is pit against this collective need for freedom and expanding our experience. I definitely foresee potential clashes here of the physical variety around the end of the month, and yet I know we're already seeing those, you know, throughout the world at the moment. But I imagine the end of the month we could potentially see this heightened to a large degree. So yeah, just take it easy. Remember what we say about Mars. Channel your Mars before your Mars channels you, etc., etc. So definitely time out, I would say, physically and mentally will be needed at the end of the month. And finally, let's end on a slightly calmer note, shall we? On the 31st of July, we have our third quarter, and this will be at 8 degrees 33 Taurus. So what are we letting go of in Taurus's domain as we prepare for a new moon? Possessions, a way of relating to ourselves, our opinions, how we stabilize, how we keep ourselves grounded, how we thrive. So much coming up for release here, just after the Taurian planetary ruler has squared the nodes and said, enough, yo. And I think this third quarter, if we use it, if we align with it, can really feel like a deep breath, an exhale of magnitude, same degree as the nodes, funnily enough. So let's see what Ajandas is saying to end this, shall we? So our symbol is denoted by a happy and thriving man feeds his cattle and fowls. That's our symbol for 8 degrees Taurus. And that's nice, yeah. Is this maybe a call for us to strive to get back some peace, some grounding, and some stability in the midst of chaos? Perhaps a reminder that Mother Earth is here to provide and sustain. An agricultural theme again, you guys, by the way. But yes, this speaks to me in a third quarter phase for us to prepare to find peace and self-sustenance. How can we prepare for self-sustenance and survival? How can we ensure we have plenty in the upcoming harvest, perhaps? I'll not jump down another rabbit hole, courtesy of Uranus in Taurus and food shortages right now, but we will leave it there on a peaceful vibe. Have a beautiful week, my darlings. Take it easy. And as ever, I send you all my love in the upcoming weeks. Take care, and we shall certainly speak soon. Bye-bye.